Marvin Harrison Jr. going up in value every single day. Everything I hear from his quarterback, from him through his quarterback or through his head coach, the things he's saying about himself and what he wanted to work on and what he has worked on, and what Gannon said about him yesterday makes me think that this kid is going to become what we thought he was going to become last year. We talked about this yesterday. How you can doubt him all you want because he didn't thrive as a rookie, but rookies usually dominate. There's no excuse for a rookie not to explode in their rookie year. If you're a wide receiver, a quarterback, or a running back, it's the nature of the game. It translates immediately. This thought that you third-year breakout wide receiver, that's done. That's gone. That's in the past. There's no third-year breakout wide receiver. You break out your rookie year, but sometimes there are roadblocks and complications. And then sometimes you say to yourself, like, he had a pretty good rookie year. Did he actually bust last year? Not really. When you score 8, 9, 7, you have 900 yards, 800, you still have a good year. It's still a good year. It just wasn't what we drafted. And that's why it feels like a bust. But MHJ didn't bust. MHJ just had a very disappointing fantasy football output given the cost of entry. This is going to be quite a year. And Jonathan Gannon had some tremendously positive things to say to the effect of, I don't want to put this out here. Let me actually play the clip for you before we go to the intro and we get going on this show. Here's what he said. This is what Gannon said.
I'm not gonna speak truth into the universe,
but
wait until this guy plays this year.
Just wait until this guy plays this year. And Kyler's saying the same thing. And Kyler and Gannon both saying the same thing via MHJ. That MHJ said, I left a lot of things on the table. And I didn't do a lot of things well. And things clicked for him mid-season. This is going to be a guy who scores 10 to 12 minimum touchdowns. This is a guy that could have 12-plus touchdowns. We also have to talk about Kirk Cousins. We have to talk about Omarion Hampton, who's putting in work. There's still an expectation that this is going to be a semi-split backfield. You need to be prepared for that. This is a best ball monster in Omarion Hampton. Harvey, Hampton, Henderson, all three. And some would say Judkins too, and I don't hate the take. He's not right there with those guys for me for many reasons, and I can explain that. But rookies to the moon. We're the biggest rookie running back probably show on the planet. And when people, and I've said this over and over, and people don't listen. They don't listen. I might have RJ Harvey ahead of Hampton this year, and I do. I might have Trey Henderson ahead of Hampton in redraft. They're tied in Dynasty. In redraft, and I do. But that doesn't mean you like Hampton more than me. Because when someone hears I've got Harvey in redraft ahead of Hampton, they don't realize that this is still where they view Hampton, and this is where I view Hampton. I just happen to have Harvey and Henderson up here, and all three of them I have valued more than you. The Fantasy Football Show, go get me a coffee show, begins right now.
Live from the FantasyFootballShow.com studios.
It's the Fantasy Football Show.
Live! Monday through Friday, 8 p.m. Eastern. Smitty is also live whenever news breaks.
So let me read to you what Gannon also said about MHJ, because it's going to be a great year. It's going to be a great year. This one right here, according to Gannon, said, really excited to see where Marvin Harrison Jr.'s game goes in his second season. But he also said, when the staff is in place, the jump from year 1 to year 2, I think, is where guys make a huge jump. The guy played unbelievable ball for us. But if you talk to him, and this is what Kyler also said, if you talk to him, he'd be the first to tell you, like, I need to get better in these couple things. And man, he went to work on those couple things. And you turn weaknesses into strengths, you become a monster. That's one thing we talk about on this channel a lot, is that when you turn your weakness into a strength, you can destroy everybody. Think about it from this perspective. I don't think a lot of you maybe even think like this, and that's why I'm here. That's why we do this psychology and fantasy football. That's why we treat this like a training excursion every time we go live. That's why this is a boot camp every time we go live. This is about making you better. How many people, if you're playing a sport, let's say you're basketball, you know, you're younger, you might have to reminisce when you're in school and you couldn't shoot with your left or you couldn't dribble with your left. What did you do? You practiced it because you didn't want to go in and week out every year not getting better at your weaknesses. What do fantasy football owners do when they have a weakness of, let's say, drafting quarterback, or they have a weakness of free agency, or they have a weakness of trade? They make bad trades and they should stick with their gut early on. What do people do? Nothing. They avoid those negative parts of their game. They avoid those things. They don't work on them. Why? Why don't you try and make your weakness strength? If you're so good at this, and this, but you have a weakness here and you still win championships, you still are great at what you do, what would happen to you if you improved your weaknesses? What would happen to you if you made every single weakness a strength and you learned to draft with your left hand instead of your right hand? That's what you need to think about instead of running away and just rinsing and repeating. People go into a draft and they say, I'm a bad drafter, but I'm a good owner. Or I'm a good owner, or I'm a good drafter, but I'm a bad owner. And then they tell me that, and I'm like, okay, so what are you doing to work on that? They're like, oh, I don't know. I'm just a bad owner. Or I'm just not good with quarterbacks. Or why aren't you trying to change that? Why don't we fix that? And so you need to keep that in mind. What is your weakness? What do you need to work on? And let's attack that. Marvin Harrison Jr. doing the same thing, but like anything, when you play a professional sport, you're working on all your weaknesses. This guy doesn't have a lot of weaknesses. The weaknesses for MHJ did come from Kyler, did come from the play calling, did come from the offense, did come from the field position. A lot of the things that made MHJ struggle in 2024 were not necessarily on him, but because he didn't have some of his weaknesses turned into strengths, he wasn't able to create things on his own, and he had to rely upon Kyler, the offense, and the play calling, which couldn't get him there. So he's turned himself into a little bit better player all around, and I think maybe he makes his own things happen like some other receivers like Neighbors. Now, Neighbors is a completely different monster. Neighbors is quarterback proof because he can move all over the field. He catches the ball short, he catches it long, he catches it across the middle. This is basically what you're hoping and assuming that all this is meaning and adding up to. That MHJ is becoming a more diverse and dynamic receiver across the entire route tree and all over the field, so that Kyler, when he laser locks on certain types of throws, because he doesn't go downfield for an entire half. He doesn't do this. He laser locks on short yardage stuff. He's rolling out of the pocket. This guy's downfield 40 yards on the right side of the field, and Kyler's rolled out to the left. How's Kyler going to get the football to him? He was running untouched. No one around him. Not even in a wide camera shot was there a single wide receiver or a single DB on this wide receiver as MHJ was running down the field, throwing his arm up, completely wide open. Kyler couldn't see him. This guy needed to improve on certain things. It sounds like he did. It sounds like he'll be all over the field, and I think that you're going to see Kyler now lean upon him. I think he still leans upon McBride. I think McBride is still a monster. I think McBride scores a lot more touchdowns this year. But they do need a possession wide receiver, especially with an improved defense, a very improved defense. A very, very improved defense. This Arizona Cardinals team drafted Will Johnson at 47, which was one of the best picks in the entire second round. This team drafted Nolan down here at number 16. Walter Nolan was one of the best picks in the top 15. The Cardinals improved their defense tremendously, and now field position will be a much better situation, meaning this guy will be sitting there in the golden area of the field, in the red zone, inside the 20 often, more often than normal, and he's a big target. And if McBride, and I'm not saying McBride doesn't score 7-8 touchdowns, but if McBride's not a born 12 to 14 touchdown player, let's say he is 7, 8, 9, 10. If this guy is your 12 plus, your 10 plus guaranteed touchdown getter, then he is going to thrive if the Cardinals live more inside the red zone. Am I worried about Kyler? I still am. I've been worried about Kyler since they signed a long-term deal, which I said not to do at the time. And I go back and forth on whether I think it's a mistake or not. I do believe that this moment in time, the parts that worry me about Kyler seem to be resolving themselves a little bit more each day. His attitude, his desire to watch film, his desire to know where his players are at, how much they need help in this area, his motivation, how he speaks about about MHJ, and the way that Kyler in an interview talked about MHJ. MHJ's going to the moon. The way that Gannon talked about MHJ's going to the moon this year. Now, sometimes coaches have coach speak. I get it. But when everybody's saying the same thing, and when our gut screamed that this is going to be the guy, I think the stars will align. Sometimes there's a roadblock. Sometimes, things don't go exactly the way you want them to go. Sometimes you need just another year. It's not common for rookie wide receivers that are to the level of excellence that this guy is to need that extra year. It's not something that you ever are going to expect. It's not something that's a good thing. It's not good that he didn't have a big time rookie season, because as I said, there's no more third year breakouts or players do well their third year. That's gone. That's in your dad's NFL. This is a different time. This is a different NFL. This is a different world that we live in today. But again, just kind of creeping back to the reality of the situation, if we take fantasy out for a second and we say, did he really truly bust? 885 and 8 is a pretty good year. Like that's not a bust. That's not what we wanted, but it's not a bust. It's still a damn good line, considering the 8 touchdowns is quite a big number for really any rookie receiver. So it was a lot to do about the receptions being 62 and not 80. The receiving yards being 885 and not 1100. The 8 touchdowns, we wanted to be 10 plus, but 8 would have been fine. It would have sufficed perfectly if those receptions and yards were a little bit bigger, if things had clicked for him a little bit earlier. And if you really understand the trajectories that he had and the falls that he had throughout the season, if we put up his game log, you really will, I think, see elite player here. This is not a guy that didn't have his moments of electric play in 2024 as a rookie. There are some significant big, spikes in production here that I think are important to call out. So here's his entire game log for the 2024 season, his rookie year, Marvin Harrison Jr. And when you take a gander at this bad boy, it's quite impressive. There are some things on here that pop like crazy. Let me put a little circle here. Okay, so walking into week number 1, he didn't do anything. This was a worrisome outing for a rookie that we expected huge things from. Goes into Buffalo, the Cardinals lose. He has 1 reception for 4 yards. That's awful. That's bad. That's really bad. And then he goes into this next contest against the Rams. Okay, the Cardinals win 41-10, which was a great outing. Rams O-line's beat up at this point, but still doesn't matter. 4 receptions on 8 targets for 130 and 2. And if you remember, MHJ had this 130 and 2 touchdowns on 4 receptions, 8 targets, pretty much in the first half. So that was impressive. He comes into week 3 against Detroit. It's a good matchup. 11 for 64 and a touch. Washington, good matchup. 5 receptions for 45 and a touch. Guys, this is a pretty damn good receiver. This is an elite player. Dare I say these numbers probably put him in the top 6 or 7 wide receivers prorated. If you extrapolate these 3 games, even if you extrapolate these 4 and include this week 1, he's a top 10 wide receiver. And if you use just these 3 games in a row, I hate cherry picking games unless they're all in a row. So if we take out the week 1 game, weeks 2, 3, 4 extrapolated, it's probably wide receiver 4 or 5 or 6 at least. And then he went through a kind of lull after these back-to-back touchdown performances, these 3 games in a row where he had 4 touchdowns in 3 games. He had 36 yards. He had 0. He had 21. But then he had a nice spike week here. 7 targets, 6 receptions, 111 yards, and a touchdown. That was impressive. That was a good game. I mean, this isn't like there was nothing good throughout the entirety of the middle part of the year, but there was these 34 yards, 54 and a touch, 47 yards, 60 and a touch. And then this is really what put the nail in the coffin, because this sporadic play was okay. He was on pace for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. That's 7 touchdowns through the at least November, the end of November. First game was on December 1st in December. This is probably a 12 touchdown receiver, you know, if he continues his pace. This is what put the nail in the coffin for trusting him for 2024. Being happy with his rookie season. 49 yards, no touchdowns. 32 yards, no touchdowns. 39 yards, 0 touchdowns. 96 was good and 0 touchdowns, but 96 was good. 6 receptions. But look at these receptions. He catches everything. Okay, he catches everything. But look, 4 targets, 8 receptions. 2 receptions. 4 receptions, 8 targets. 2 receptions, 6 targets. 4 receptions, 8 targets. 5 receptions, 12 targets. The problem was Kyler. The problem was play calling. The problem was a lot of other things. As much as I want to blame him, the one thing that I identify when I look at stats is that this man catches everything, yet why are they uncatchable balls? 2 receptions on 7 targets? That ain't his fault. I guarantee you that this is not his fault. Are some of them? Maybe. 5 receptions on 11 targets, people. 5 receptions. That's not MHJ. He catches everything. 5 for 12. These are not normal. Now, you could say to me, 5 for 6 here. You could say to me, Smitty, what's going to change? I don't believe in Kyler. And you wouldn't be crazy to have that feeling walking in and you say, I don't think it's going to change. I think Kyler's going to screw this up. I think MHJ's not going to bounce back. I think MHJ's going to be good, but not great. Then I guess this is what I have to say to you. You're no longer drafting him at 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. You're no longer taking him in a territory where he can't earn it, even on a kind of bland, mediocre year. This is what he did in the worst of worst situations where he was still learning. And again, going back to, even though I blame Kyler, the play calling, the Cardinals more than anything, field position too, guys. The field position is going to help Kyler. All the negatives about Kyler are going to be enhanced by the defense putting this team in field position. But even if you go to that and say, this is the Cardinals' problem, this is the Cardinals' problem, the little things that MHJ says now click. He takes responsibility for a lot of things. The things where maybe he did mess up and not get that reception because he ran the wrong way and Kyler threw a bad ball. But this guy doesn't miss catching it, but maybe he's running the wrong route. Maybe he's not where he needs to be. Maybe he doesn't do something that he knows he could do to help Kyler on a second chance route. Whatever the case may be. Those things that he fixes, even in the worst of worst scenarios, we know he can get 80, 1,000, and 10. And so I guess my point here is this. If things don't improve with Kyler and the Cardinals, which they will because the field position will be better, the defense will be better. If it's just up to MHJ to do what he did last year, but do it a little better because he's now learned some things by his own admission. I think his 62 receptions, 885 become 80 and 1,000. Okay, in a worst case scenario, 80, 1,000, and his 8 TDs become probably 11 to 12 TDs. That is just by himself becoming a better player in the ways that he says he's becoming. This to me is his floor, not his expected outcome, not the probable outcome at the end of the day. This is if things go awry and what we believe Kyler might be able to do and the Cardinals might be able to do better. They don't improve. MHJ is going to naturally improve as a rookie that admits that he learned a ton. I think this is his floor. This is his floor value. I think he can get 80 receptions, 1,000 yards. That's a very low number. And 11 to 12 touchdowns when he got 8 as a rookie, learning and making tons of mistakes. So when you say to me, Smitty, I don't trust Kyler, I understand. But keep in mind that at third round value, 3rd to 4th, I mean, he's going in the 3rd, but he's mid-3rd sometimes, so we'll just erase 4th. But I've seen him go in the 4th. Through Grandma League, he could. At 3rd round value, this is baked in. If he gets this, he's earning his 3rd round value. Even if he's slightly not earning it, he's right there. So is he a risk in 2024? Not really. If Kyler was going in the top 14 again, like he was as a rookie, this would not be an acceptable line. We would say that as a rookie, we need better than this. It would still be kind of acceptable. If you took him 14 and he had 880, 1012, you'd still be like, okay, that wasn't what I wanted, but it's pretty good. It didn't bust on me. But from the third round, from 3.5, 3.6, guys, this floor is fine. This is a great third drafted player, great third round player, and there isn't any more risk. You have to look at it from that perspective. There's no more risk when he is a third round pick. There's no more risk. It's all 100% baked in.
Take a lap.
Now, moving on over to the rest of this, Omarion Hampton was out there day 2 with the team, running these drills, using his footwork, being a monster. Here's some footage of Hampton out there doing work. I mean, he looks quick, he looks speedy, he looks driven, he looks motivated. It's important to note that a lot of NFL players could go out and do this and they'd all look good and exciting. This isn't really anything crazy, but it's nice to see. And he's such a motivated worker. It's only a matter of time. And so for those of you that again, think that you're higher on Hampton than me because I like RJ Harvey and I like Henderson more as rookies because I think their situations are better. I got news for you. You don't like Hampton more than I do. We like him in a worst case scenario the exact same. I just happen to love RJ Harvey and Hendy way more than you, and that's where the discrepancy lies. At the end of the day, Hampton is a monster in best ball. I'm not saying he's not a monster in non-best ball. I'm just saying link in the description. Link is pinned in the live chat. I'll drop the link one more time in the live chat right now. You want to draft with us tonight? You want to draft Hampton tonight? Hit this link and we'll draft Hampton tonight. Hampton at some point is going to explode. At some point, Hampton will take over the backfield. The problem is in the expectation for some people that are pro Hampton and they see this footage, and I don't blame them because it looks fantastic. I got it on my Instagram. You can go watch this on my Instagram at thefantasyfootballshow.com. Go check me out over there. Don't miss out on my IG stuff. I go live on IG all the time. I'm going to start going live on IG a lot more. But go check me out on Instagram. But I got it over there on Instagram at The Fantasy Football Show. Link in description as well. And I'm excited about it. There's a reason I posted it. I love what I see. I love his hard work. I love his determination. I love his excitement. I like that he's out there just absolutely crushing it in the drills. But this doesn't mean that Najee's going away. His drills don't mean Najee's not going to be there. Najee is more threatening to Hampton than Stevenson is to Henderson. Najee is more threatening to Hampton initially than really RJ Harvey's entire running back room times 2 combined and then put back on the roster. No one's touching Harvey's workload. So it comes down to just the pecking order of these rookies. The truth of the matter is all of the rookies are amazing. Rookies are going to win leagues this year. Rookie running backs are going to win leagues this year. Rookie running backs can be had in a variety of ways in a draft. You can sometimes end up corralling a bunch of these guys together. So if you were to take, let's say, a Harvey in round 5 or 6, he tends to go in 6, which is amazing. We'll put him right in the middle. Hampton's going around this territory, bottom 3, top of 4. It happens sometimes. Henderson is Genty's going around 1. Genty's going a 1. No rookies going around number 2 as a rookie running back yet, but Hampton could get to that point. Henderson is going around. It depends. It's not an easy thing to predict, but Henderson's typically going around 4 to 5. So these are where the rookie RBs are kind of at right now. It's 5-6 for Harvey, Henderson around 4, Hampton in 3, probably eventually could climb to 2 depending on news and all that. Genty going in the first round and as high as like 6, 5, 6, 7, 8. These are amazing players. These players win leagues. Now you could draft a league where you have all of them, but Obviously you'd have to have a great wide receiver in round 2. You'd have to get a great wide receiver in round 5. You have to get Harvey here. Maybe you get Dak Prescott later. This could work. I mean, you could figure it out. But the point is, you don't have to draft all of them. But if you draft 2 of them, if you get Genty and Harvey, you can focus on wide receivers and quarterback and tight end the rest of the way. If you get Hampton and Henderson together, your first and second round picks can be something entirely different. The bottom line is you've got them looking about like this. These are the bread and butter money shots in your draft where you're crushing the value. Genty, you're overpaying, but it's worth it. He's going to be so good. But when you're talking about winning a league off the rookies, it's these guys right here. They're money. They're absolute monsters. Rookies win leagues. Rookie running backs win leagues. If you take anything away from my content this year, it's a few things. This is one of them. Harvey wins you a league in 6. Harvey in 6 is better than Hampton in 3. Doesn't mean I don't love Hampton. That's what I'm trying to say. That's why I'm even doing another video on Hampton, because I don't think people are hearing me, because I get these comments every once in a while throughout the day sprinkled in. Smitty, I think you're going to be wrong about Hampton. He's going to be pretty good. I don't know what you're talking about. What in the hell are you even saying to me? I love Hampton. I love Henderson. I love Harvey. I love them all. They're going in different places. There's different costs of entry. There's different evaluations and valuations. There's different expected outcomes. This guy's got a cloudier situation than this guy, and he's cheaper. That makes him a better value, makes him a better pick right now. If Najee gets abducted by aliens tomorrow, Hampton goes to round 2 and he's worth it. But you gotta think differently than you are when you think I don't love this guy. I love him. Best ball, he's gonna explode. Best ball, you can surround yourself with a team that can carry the workload, and he'll have some good games in the first handful of weeks. Let's call it the first 5-6 weeks he doesn't get fully unlocked. He gets unlocked in either week 6 or week 7. That's the expectation in my mind. Even at that, we'll come out of 2025, entering 2026 offseason, a year from today, and we're going to say, if you extrapolate his final 10 games, this guy would have been running back 4. This guy would have been running back 4. That's what we're going to be saying. That's how good he's going to finish. That's how good he's going to be at some point. And he'll be good in between. Will he be elite in week 1? It's possible, but you have to bake in the risk. Bake in the inherent risk of him potentially sharing more of a workload with Najee than you're going to want walking out of week 1. It's not a guarantee, but it's something you need to package into the risk level. It doesn't mean you don't like him. Doesn't mean I don't like him. Doesn't mean he's not going to mother freaking Saturn. Look, there's a reason these guys are all over these lists.
The Moon Men.
I got Scat here.
Outer space.
I got Samson here.
He's on a shuttle.
I got Hampton on the Mars Men list. What more can I do? Look at his old photo.
Dropping and spinning aimlessly in space.
We got Smitty. Why aren't you high on Hampton? I heard that 5 times this morning. Does it look like I'm not high on Hampton? Does it look like with him and his old photo? Look at this old photo right here. I can't even recognize him. That's how long he's been on the Mars Man list. I don't want to hear it.
The Saturn Men.
One small step for man, one giant leap for Saturn.
How can you like Hampton when you love Harvey?
The Jupiter Men. Jupiter is so large, every planet in the solar system could fit inside it. There are no bigger monsters than the Jupiter Men.
God, these rookie running backs, they're all over the place.
The Moon Men.
Look at the
Dropping
Scatterboo,
loads in outer space.
the Samsonite, the briefcase. The briefcase is a huge sleeper. Scatman,
Space Monsters.
huge sleeper. Don't sleep on Debo and Fields. I love our list this year. Our lists feel like they're going to smash. Just like Hampton will in time. If, not a guarantee he doesn't even need more time, but if he ends up starting slow, he will explode at some point, and you need to be prepared for the floor and the ceiling, because the ceiling is going to be remarkable. Again, this is the Cardinals. Coach Gannon talking about really excited to see where Marvin Harrison goes. Kyler's excited. Marv is excited. Here's a piece of news on Kirk Cousins. Kirk Cousins, according to ESPN, they need to trade him. But as talked about on this episode on ESPN, the problem is going to be the guaranteed money. And if anybody wonders why there's a hang-up right now on trading away Kirk Cousins, which is clearly going to be in the cards for the Atlanta Falcons, it's going to be how much guaranteed money, according to this ESPN report, and I agree with it, how much guaranteed money are the Falcons willing to eat in order to get him sent, packing? Because they're going to take a big hit getting rid of him. So there is a teeter-tottering type of situation where the team is like, okay, are we better off having him as a backup and feeling comfortable that he knows our system versus paying this boatload of money to get rid of him and then not being as confident as our backup? There's a sweet spot where it's like, why don't we just keep him? Like, why are we going to go above and beyond here? We're getting rid of him. We're taking a dead cap hit, but now we got to take on this guaranteed money commitment just to get rid of him, to not see his face, to wash our hands of this bad memory of not believing in Penix Jr. from Jump Street. But there will be a teeter-tottering. The Steelers are an option. There's still a few teams. If I had to throw a couple teams around, let's pull up the NFL teams, AFC, NFC, and just say, look, what team would want Kirk Cousins right now? Probably you could see a team he'd want to start. Okay, so where could he start? I mean, you look at a place like Cleveland. I don't know that they're as interested in that anymore because they have 75 quarterbacks on their roster, but they were the lead dog candidate at one point during the offseason. You've got the Steelers as maybe the only landing spot, in my opinion, that feels very clear-cut. You've got New Orleans, a potential landing spot that I don't know how they feel about that at this moment in time. They could try and develop their rookie behind Kirk Cousins. I would say New York's now off the table, obviously, because they have 10,000 quarterbacks as well. I don't think there's another place he can really start. So at the end of the day, it's really going to be the Pittsburgh Steelers, maybe the Indianapolis Colts, but I don't know that they're heading in that direction because I think they don't want to mess with Danny Dimes, who somehow, some way, they think is going to be relevant. But I think it's going to be New Orleans, or it's going to be the Steelers, or it's not going to happen. And Kirk Cousins, I'm sure, is just going to stay put versus go back up somewhere else. Or maybe he will. Maybe at that point, he'll weigh out his options and go, you know what? I'm a backup here, and Penix Jr. is a young man. Maybe I can go be a backup in Miami, where I think Tua is going to get rocked at some point, and I could go in and start games. I don't know how his mind's going to digest the reality of the situation once he realizes there's only 2 landing spots, and it takes, one of those landing spots to want him back and to want to pay the piper. If Aaron Rodgers comes back to the Steelers, now it's New Orleans and New Orleans alone. But do they go shuck? Do they say, screw this? We're investing. So hard to know how this is going to play out, but Kirk Cousins is running out of spots. His decision to wait until after the draft ended up backfiring on him because what he wanted to do is make sure he didn't get screwed again and go to a team that drafts a rookie. But look what happened. He waited, and all these teams filled their voids with the rookies, and now he's got no landing spot. So Kirk Cousins kind of stepped on his own junk by deciding to be picky walking into the NFL draft. This is pretty interesting news right here. The Dolphins are expected to trade or release Jalen Ramsey in May or June. So there's a lot of people that are thinking that he's going to the Rams. Or, I mean, this is going to be an interesting landing spot. Okay, so that's there. This is a guy that we like a lot. Alec Manor. People say it different ways. I'm sure he'll clarify it at some point, just like A-Chan came out and said, you know what? Let me just tell you how you should be pronouncing my name, book. Ayo Manor. Ayo! Love this guy. Love him. And Brian Callahan told reporters that he will probably start work at X receiver, but has flexibility to do more. Moving around the field will be important for having this rookie quarterback Cam Ward, and I think the mistakes he can make, the learning of reading NFL defenses. You're going to need somebody that can be versatile and move all over the field, and that will help his progression. But I really like the opportunity in Tennessee for one of these younger rookie receivers. Restrepo is the other receiver that they drafted. Well, they drafted 3. The third and final receiver, and that was a beg and a request from Cam Ward saying, draft Restrepo. This is my wide receiver in college. And so they reunited that. But like in Denver, Denver did the same thing for Bo Nix, and that's never materialized. So don't just think because there's a rapport, the player's going to rise up in the league. But I do like Restrepo. I think he's a pretty decent prospect. And in best ball, sometimes it might not be the smartest move, but I think it's pretty crafty. I've taken Iominor and Restrepo at the very last pick, and mostly did that in the 20 team or the 20 player drafts when it was 20 rounds. 18's harder to do that, but I would do that because I feel like between Restrepo and Iominor, that one of them is going to pop in Tennessee and become better than people expect. But keep an eye on this kid. They like him a lot. Again, just showing this because it's still going viral, and I want to make sure people know that this is angle action, maybe mixed with some AI. There's a lot of different things and theories. There's some people that say that the photographer just got in the right angle, and angles can be tricky, so it could just be angles. But this right here looks like AI, or the best angle job. You can say the best angle job in the history of photography. But this is not the size of Hampton on the left. This photo going viral, and this is not to tear him down. We just did a show building him up, but just to set the expectation from this crazy, unhinged viral photo where people think that the photo on the left is how big he is. He's not. He's smaller. He's actually much shorter, as you can see on the right photo, than Harbaugh. And he's not that much bigger than him anyway. He's a nice size running back. He's 6 foot 220, but I'm taller than him. I'm 6'2", 220. So I'm bigger than Hampton, and I'm not like I'm a big guy. I'm a tall guy, but like you wouldn't stand next to me and go, "Oh my God, this is giant." I don't look like this when I go meet people. I look like Harbaugh, in the photo, but I don't look like the Hulk, trying out for an Avenger movie. So just be careful what you see. And there's people just pumping that around. Like you look at the comment section, people are like, I didn't realize we were getting that big of a beast. And it's crazy. Phone lines are open. MHJ to explode, Harvey to explode, Hampton to explode, Hendy to explode. And to explain the difference real quick before the phone lines open, the difference between Henderson's sharing the carry workload environment and Hampton's is that Hampton and Najee are going to share they're overlapping a lot on what they do well. They're very, like Hampton's a better player than Najee, but they're very similar in what they do well. And the fact that we judge Najee with his horrible line and offense and vanilla playbook over in Pittsburgh, we might be underselling his ability and capability to do much better than expectation, Najee, in a new environment, in a great system, in a system that wants to run the ball hard-nosed. They abandoned the run a lot last year, especially around the goal line, because they weren't effective. And that's why they didn't bring JK back. But JK has also, as I reported yesterday, been slapped with let me find that piece of news. J.K. Dobbins might be a freaking Charger this year. So let me put that up on the screen right here. Let me see if I can find that piece of news and throw it up on the screen. It's probably around here somewhere. I'll have to find it. I'll find it and throw it up when I find it. I'll put it up on the screen. All right, we got news here. A gentleman has called into the phone line that we haven't heard from in quite a while. Kyrie Boston is back on the line. Kyrie, what is going on?
I'm not mad at you. I'm more mad at what happened in the draft. I'm just confused, hurt. This is my first NFL draft I've ever seen. Like from pick 1 to pick 10.
Hey, Kyrie, not to cut you off, but can I play something for you? We got a special intro. It was predictable that you'd be coming back to the channel, so we created this little number for you. I hope you feel honored. Here you go. Here you go. Hold on.
I'm coming home. I'm coming home. From Boston. Like the rain, wash away.
Rock out. We have Rock out on retainer, and real quickly, I love how he calls you Kyron Boston. But hold on, here we go.
Kyron Boston.
I'm in Boston.
All right.
That's cool. I appreciate that. All right.
We knew he'd be back. All right, Kyrie Boston, a.k.a. Kyrie. Tell me real quickly in very short amount of words, why are you upset about the draft? What pissed you off?
A lot pissed me off. First off, the Eagles pissed me off because I don't know why they traded up one they traded up one pick to the San Francisco, like the Chiefs. I'm like, that whole thing had me flabbergasted. But then when the whole thing with Tesla was they gave up 3 third-rounders to get one third-rounder and 2 sixth-rounders. That's what blew my head. I was like, and then when the Patriots grabbed a kicker and a place, what do you call them dudes? The dudes who hold the ball?
Place holder?
They grabbed that dude in the 7th round.
What are you saying?
A placeholder?
What are you saying that holds the ball?
Like, I was just a little, it messed me up because I was like, they could have got them as free agents.
All right, hang on, Kyrie. Hang on one second. Chargers placed unrestricted free agent tender on running back J.K. Dobbins. So there's more cloudiness to the situation. This is probably to acquire a draft pick, but will somebody, go after J.K.'s services? So it's tough to say what's going to happen with J.K. Dobbins. So people need to realize the early on complexities of Omarion Hampton drafting. So again, just to recap, Henderson's got a guy named Stevenson that has been very disappointing lately, and Henderson's skill set doesn't have to overlap with the skill set of Ramondre. Even though Ramondre's been a good receiver in years past, he hasn't been that guy lately, and the best pass protecting running back in the draft is Henderson. So naturally, Henderson probably in his worst case scenario is going to get that wide receiver running back morph, like inverse Deebo Samuel treatment, where he's on the field, he's pass blocking, and if they're running the ball between the gut, they might give it to Ramondre, and that's fine because Hendy deserves 10 to 14 carries a game, not 18. Hampton, you want to give 18 carries a game. Najee, you want to give 18 carries a game. There's just some overlap there that makes the Najee-Hampton situation a little bit complex. And the same thing with Judkins and Dylan Sampson, different, but in the way that I believe we don't want Judkins to become a one-dimensional player. Dylan Sampson's being talked up as having an untapped receiving potential in the offense, and Judkins is being coined as the gut between the tackle, grinded out guy. So you have already a player in Dylan Sampson that I ranked higher than Judkins as a prospect, landing on the same team as Judkins and being talked up in the receiving game. That to me means that Judkins is going to be a one-dimensional player in Cleveland, as much as people want to will it to be different. That is the nature and the reality of the situation. So there's a lot of sharing. You got Genty not sharing a single carry. But then after that, you've got Harvey not sharing a single carry. That's why Harvey ranks number 2 for me for running backs right now, because he has virtually no competition whatsoever. Genty has no competition. Harvey has no competition. Henderson, I believe, has sneaky cemented in safe value, even in what appears to be a big competition environment. Hampton eventually will have no competition, but he will initially, and for how long we don't know. And Judkins, same thing. So just to break down why there are certain value expectations for these rookie running backs that I have that make one rank over the other, yet some people think I don't like Hampton. Of course I like Hampton.
He's on a shuttle to Mars.
On the Mars man list all off season. Hold on, Kyrie. Let me go over to Travis real quick. Travis, you're live.
Yeah, so actually, just to chime in on what Kyrie was saying, the Eagles, I know he's a fan of them. He should be very happy with that pick. I know it was a little strange that they gave up something to move up one spot, but they got Jihad Campbell, who a lot of people are calling one of the best picks of the draft, especially the whole get richer.
For sure.
So he did it again in Philly, where he just gets another great piece for that defense. And then the thing with the Patriots, the long snapper, you can question that, it's a later draft pick, but the kicker, if you look at it, they needed a kicker. He was the best one in the draft, and I'll try to find the exact pick, but the Ravens were coming up right behind the Patriots, And the Ravens took a kicker as well with all this Justin Tucker stuff going on with the harassment cases or whatever's happening.
Was it a kicker or a punter?
It was a kicker. They took the best kicker.
It wasn't a punter?
No, they took a kicker and a long.
Kicked earlier too.
Yeah, he might have. But with the Patriots, they took a kicker. They took the kicker because the Ravens were probably going to take him. So they wanted the best kicker in the draft. So.
No worries. We don't need to dig into it. Kyrie, you're a little
you're a
little off. You're a little off on being
the
Eagles draft. The Eagles did fine. You don't need to. Kobo says traded the 1.10 and 2.5 and 26 second and 26 third to trade up to the 1.6. But do
you think that the Kansas City would have took Campbell instead of the player they took anyway?
I don't think I don't think so.
No, that's what blew my mind.
No, the Chiefs.
It was odd.
The Chiefs having the best. First of all, this 32nd pick, Josh Simmons, was unreal. This was probably the best. This is probably the best pick in the draft. The second half of the draft. I think this is their target.
That's what I figured. I figured they wouldn't take the Simmons kid anyway because they need help on the line.
Yeah, they may have considered Campbell. I don't know, but the Eagles didn't want.
Someone else might have been trading up too.
Yeah, they didn't want to take the chance, but it is what it is. All right, hold on 1 second, guys. I got to get these.
Someone else might have been trading.
Kyrie, hold on. Mute yourself real quickly. Traded the 1.10.
That makes sense.
All right. You wanted to move up from 1.6 from the 1.10. So trade the 1.10, 2.5. I would have done this too. I like the 1.10 and Coble. I always say this. Maybe Harvey falls to 10, and then at the end of the day, I don't love the pick. And maybe 2.5, you see Scatterboo there, and you're like, what is going on? I can't live in a world where I assume those things happen, though. So I would rather have the 1.6 and have total control of having either Hunter or Harvey, and you're pretty much guaranteed one. So I would make this trade as well. Rebuild team, Genty, Hunter. Yeah, I mean, I like Hunter too. I'm fine getting Hunter or Harvey there, but that guarantees it to you. I'd rather control my destiny. Rockout says, thoughts on this bad team? Mahomes, May, Stafford, running back, Irving, Hall, Scatterboo, Sharbs, JJ, Devontae Smith, DK, Debo. Love it. Great team, great balance. That's the way I like to draft. And honestly, it's going to hinge on probably Mahomes bouncing back, which I very much believe he will. And Hall, Kyrie, can you mute real quick? I hear your mouth breathing. It's really loud. Thanks, Kyrie. I'm trying to be playful. This is our first call together since you left the channel and came back. I'm kind of joking, but not. But just mute real quick if you don't mind. Bucky, Hall. This hinges on Hall and Scatterboo and Mahomes, and I like that. I like all three, and I bank on all three together. I like that. It's a great team, Rockout. That could definitely be a team that's in the finals for sure. I think Hunter sees a lot more wide receiver snaps than most people think. That's what we've been saying all offseason, Coble. Been trying to tell that, preach it, tell everybody to go get Hunter. We were taking Hunter. I mean, when Hunter was dropped on the
Moon Man, dropping loads.
Where do we move him?
He's on a shuttle to Mars.
The Saturn Men.
There it is.
One small step for man.
He's on a shuttle to Mars. Mars Man.
When on February 22nd, when we put him on the board here,
Loads dropping.
we were taking him in round 9, round 10, and you'd have the scared Scotty content creators out there literally creating rankings. I was getting DM left and right, literally creating rankings, leaving Hunter off because they were scared. They were scared to be accountable to a high Hunter ranking because they didn't know. I don't know, Smitty, if they're going to actually play him at receiver. We don't know who's going to draft him. There's nothing less full of more, I don't know, scared Scotty vibes than somebody that said, well, I'll re-rank Hunter after the draft once we know where he is. We didn't do that. Scared money don't make money. And if you're not first, you're last. Everybody knows that. We've been smashing the Hunter value all offseason. You know where he's going right now? Round 4-5 on Underdog. We were getting him at 9-10. The advantages we have of drafting early far outweigh the risks of drafting early and having an injury or an unfolding situation to not our liking. Like Najee, for example. You draft a lot of Najee, and then the draft comes and that value is like sunk. But the Hunters, the different values that we got, the Harveys, Harvey, Hunter, those are such great picks now. And if you have those, you're in such a huge advantage. The fact that these people were creating content, leaving off, and I believe even at one point, Steve Smith left Hunter off his rankings when he went through the rankings. Like, what are we doing here? Like, there were so many people that wouldn't rank Hunter. They refused to rank him. He's a wide receiver. What did I say all offseason? The coach that brings him in is going to say, I want the ball in his hands. He's being touted as one of the best athletes to ever come out of college. The most dynamic, playmakers to ever come out of college. And you don't want the ball in his hands? While it was possible, it was moronic to think about it. Cohen has the ability to scheme up so much for him. And for anybody that's worried about him getting 60% of the snaps versus 100 on offense, Smitty, the opportunities won't be there. Liam Cohen's going to design so much for him. He's not running. Just, again, picture him running onto the field, okay? Because he's playing 65% of the offensive snaps, playing 20 to 30 defensive, right? Or 70 offensive. I think it's going to be 70 to 80. But if it's 65 in a worst-case scenario, okay, because that's definitely going to be the worst-case scenario. Imagine, close your eyes, imagine him coming onto the field, okay, gets in the huddle, and T-Law goes, takes his hair, flips it left and right, and he says, Blue 32, hatchback 7 on 4. And he looks over at Hunter and goes, Hunter, welcome to the huddle. You're going to run a go route and waste all your energy, and we're not throwing it to you, okay? And then you're going to go back on defense, winded, and go play on D, because we're not going to use you. Who thinks that they're running him onto the field to wear him out? He's running onto the field to catch footballs, to touch the football. Will he be a decoy because of that very expectation? Sure, at times. But if you think that a 65, 70% snap share on offense will have him catching less balls than a 90 or 100%, then I think you're a hater on Hunter, Travis Hunter. You've literally doubled down. You're double down Donnie, and you don't realize that he's going to touch the ball the same amount. This is going to be like a novelty. It's going to be like he's coming in to sign autographs when he hits the field. It'd be like, oh, Hunter's in the game. Holy smoke.
Mashed potatoes.
He's in the game. He's in the game. What are they just going to have him run these Ridley go routes where Ridley's barely getting looked at? I don't think so. So Coble to the moon, bro. He's going to be amazing. T-Law, we just have to at some point have a conversation about how good can T-Law be? Because if you've got BTJ as a top 5 to 6 wide receiver, top 4 to 7, whatever you value BT, and you've got one of the best offensive playmakers in the history of college football coming into this offense, how does T-Law not have a Baker Mayfield kind of season, especially given the coach, the head coach is Liam Cohen, who just turned Baker Mayfield back into a baller. So I don't know. I'm very hesitant to get the Law Dog Milk video out, but we might have to smash it. I mean, goodness, I got the Law Dog shirt. I just at some point we got to have the conversation. Why do you think the best draft spot is the 12? Or sorry, what do you think the best draft spot is for a 12-man league? Sorry, redraft league. 1, always 1. Then, I mean, there was a year, I think it was 2 years ago, that I actually didn't like 1 better than 12. I think it was 2 years ago. But it's for literally 23 plus, 24 plus years professionally, however long I've done this professionally, I've only 1 year not loved the 1 first, the 2 second, the 3 third, the 4th fourth, the 5th spot, I like it 5th. And then you get to 6, it's like, I still like that probably most. And then once you get to 7, I almost could flip to 12, 11, 10, and then they meet in the middle. But it's always 1, 2, 3, or 4, bro. Always. Only 1 year has it been different. And the reason for that is obvious. Your third rounder's higher than everybody else's. So if you're drafting 1 and you get the back-to-backs, it's such a rich talent pool still right at the 2-3 turn, and especially this year. And if you get Jamar Chase at 1, you're getting 2 players of Bucky and Bucky, Hall, Kyron, a handful of players that are right at that territory. Just rich in running back. And then if you go 2 or 3 overall, you know, it becomes complex at the wide receiver position, but MHJ can be your savior in the 3rd round. The lower your first round pick is, that's the lower your 3rd round pick is. So if you're drafting in the 4 spot in round 1, you're drafting in the 4 spot in round 3. So MHJ could be your wide receiver 1 if you want. So you could go potentially Bijan and Bucky, or Bijan and Kyron, or Bijan and whatever, and then go MHJ as your first receiver up the board. But always 1, always 2, always 3 in that order. Benji with the final super chat of the moment. Please continue to drop super chats. I'll answer them in the order in which they come in. I'll try and answer them immediately. By the way, let me fix my alerts so the alerts go popping off every time something comes through. I'm sorry about that. That should be fixed now. Benji says, "Guy wants my 1.5 for 1.8. I was thinking 1.5 plus 3.5 for 1.8 in Jacobs or Cook. Is that too much?" This is tough because, again, if you can get Harvey at 8, then it makes it a tough call for me, because I'd rather have Harvey and Jacobs over the 1.5 and 3.5. But at the same time, I don't know that when we get to your draft, if your draft is tomorrow, then it might work. But I don't know that you're going to have as much control over getting the player you exactly want at 1.8 later. I just can't guarantee it. What were you saying, Travis? Did you say something?
Yeah. I was just going to say, not to mention, like, Jacobs and Cook are obviously worth more than the 3.5, like way more. So you'd have to be guaranteed to be getting that player you want at 1.8.
Yeah. I think for me, I like Jacobs. If you can win now.
Okay, yeah. So he's getting Jacobs or Cook. I'm sorry.
Yeah, but a lot of times I just answer the side I like. I don't necessarily, because I get it. If I get it backwards, I just say what I want. Some people are like, "No, Smitty, I'm getting the other side." Well, the advice is still exactly the same. For me, Jacobs is a great player, and if you can win a bunch of money, like in year 2025, that, like, if it's a huge money prize pool, and Jacobs puts you over the top, I like the 1.8 in Jacobs is nice, but at the end of the day in a dynasty, I want that 1.5 player, whether it's Hendy or Hunter or RJ Harvey. I would rather have Harvey or Hendy than have Judkins and Jacobs if it gets stuck to that. And I know some people love Judkins.
Look worst case. Worst case, what did he end up with that 1.8?
I know people love Judkins, but I just don't think he's on the same level. I think he's a Dalvin Cook, or I'm sorry, a James Cook. I keep calling James Cook Dalvin. A James Cook before this year. This year was an anomaly touchdown year, which I think is going to be full of regression for people expecting James Cook to be what he was last year. To score 18 to 20 touchdowns this year, he's going to be back to 8 or 7 or whatever overall. So and James Cook was good, but that's your ceiling value. The pre-20 touchdown James Cook is what you're getting out of Judkins. I think with Harvey or with Hendy, you're getting a potential Jahmyr Gibbs, value. So I'm going to take that side unless you can win big, huge money, my boy. But if you can guarantee Harvey will be there, he says, I don't know if Harvey will be there at 8. If you can guarantee it, or let's say you can move up a couple spots, giving up like a bunch of seconds and thirds, maybe that's better. If you could trade that and then move it up, but I don't know that I would risk it. I think I want that running back so badly. You could also play it out, and make it an option you think about on the clock, because you'll feel a little bit more familiar with where everybody's probably going ADP wise, what the news looks like. I think you do this now, you could live to regret it, because Harvey's climbing like crazy, bro. He was a 8, 9, 10 overall, or 8, 9, 10 round player on opening Best Ball Mania night, because there was no ADP yet on it. It was using the previous contest ADP, which Harvey was not even on a lot of people's radars. And then in one night, Harvey climbed to the 6th round, and now Harvey's going in the 5.1 to 6.5 territory. Wide range. You'll see him go like 6.8, 6.10, 6.5 a lot, and then you'll do another draft, and somebody on Underdog will take him at 5.1. So Harvey's going to climb. The moment Sean Payton comes out and says another positive thing on him, and he's already said a ton of positive things on him, but if he comes out and says this guy could have 2,000 yards, you will see him get drafted in the 4th round. So that will increase his dynasty appeal as well and everything. I think the thing about dynasty, the reason he could fall to the 1.8 is just because dynasty owners are really weird about age. They'll look at a guy that's 24 years old and they'll be like, I don't want him. I don't want him. And there'll be 3 or 4 guys that think that way. So those guys are in the right draft slots. It could work, but I don't know.
And people obsess over wide receivers too. You might get people taking
Ted
McMillan.
I know.
Even Puka, Bird.
Yeah, so let's mock it up and say you got Genty, Hampton, and then I see Tet going 3 a lot still. It's weird, but Hunter.
A lot of people will.
Yeah, Hunter, Tet, and then probably, let's see. So Genty, Hampton, Hunter, Tet,
Henderson,
Hendy, probably Golden, and then maybe Judkins, and then Harvey. Like, you could see it. I could see it happening right now.
Yeah.
So give me Jacobs and Harvey if you think you can do it. But I just don't know how far your draft off, is if it's weeks from now, if it's tomorrow. I think if it's tomorrow, you're a much higher chance of pulling this off. But, worst case scenario
That's
too,
why
though.
You say you got to know your week.
I mean, worst case scenario, you're still gonna have Jacobs, and you'll still have a good player. But if you pull it off, bro, you could then trade Jacobs away, which I would do, honestly. Trade him away and go get like a MHJ in some deal. Yeah, you have to give up more, but go get a player like I'd trade Jacobs for Bucky. And give up a little more to do it. I'd trade Jacobs to go get Breece Hall. Personally, I would do something. I think Jacobs has got like that 1 year left, and then he's going to start having injury concerns because he's been abused in this league for a while. He was abused. He was actually an Oakland Raider and a Las Vegas Raider. So his first year was actually an Oakland Raider. That's how long he's been taking a beating as a Raider. So his he's been hitting 8-man fronts for years and years. So there's going to be a drop off at some point. Peyton really led us astray when he said things about the running back room last season, though. Running back Harvey is going to be the man this year. The thing about that, Freezy, it's a good point to bring up, is Sean Payton does use multiple running backs. He's not somebody that just uses one running back, but like in the case of Kamara, that's been a glorious thing. He's great at developing manufactured touches and getting someone in the Kamara skill set, an elite workload that also can't take on all of the carries up the gut. Nobody really is a 25 carry a game running back. You'll get hurt, and teams run the ball that much. They got to manufacture touches for other players. But the one thing about Peyton, man, is that when he goes after a player like he went after Harvey, and he's been gushing over the film, he says he couldn't stop. He literally said this. He couldn't stop watching Harvey film. He had to be quiet about him. He had to keep it under wraps. They thought he was going to get taken. This sounds like a guy he wanted potentially in round 1, that they just said, let's see if he falls. And he fell, and they were ecstatic. And you got these dynasty round counters that come in and say and create content around this garbage, this absolute filth. They say things like, his second round draft capital isn't going to be as strong as the first round draft capital. First of all, second round draft capital is fine. It's when you get into like round 4 and 5. And even in this draft class, doesn't even matter that much. I don't care if you're a 4th or a 5th rounder. In this class is special. And I think people know that. The thing with draft capital is it makes it easy for a team to say, he's banged up. Okay? He's banged up. Let's move on. In the case of Kyron, his rookie year, he's banged up. Do we move on? Do we not? If the team likes you, if the team thinks you're a special player, they'll hang on and hold on to you. It's kind of case by case. But there is a world where, like in the case of James Robinson being a low draft capital guy, the moment he starts having injuries, it's very easy to walk away and say, I'm not going to wait around for this guy to get healthy. We have a very low commitment cut bait. Whereas you're drafting in the second or third round, you'll wait around for a guy that gets banged up. So it's like a security measure. But the second round versus the first round has no relevance here. Not to mention that you're being told by the man that's using him that he considered him a first-round pick. And he got lucky and was breathing heavily and he needed a paper bag as he's waiting for him to fall to the Denver Broncos second-round pick. So I don't want to hear that Hampton's got more security in Dynasty because of the round he was taken. That's what Sean Payton's trying to tell you, is that he would have taken him in the first round. That was the running back he identified and wanted. Now, the age part, I get it. It's going to be a factor. If all things are equal and you like Hampton and Harvey the same, but then you say Hampton's 2 years younger, I don't know about this. I can understand that, but at the same time, Harvey 24 plays his 24 season, plays his 25, plays his 26, plays his 27. You hold your breath during the 28 and 29 seasons. That's literally a guaranteed 4 years before you enter the fifth and kind of scary year, and he's a second rounder, not a first rounder, so there's no fifth year option. So he plays 4 great years, he will get his next contract. That's a lot of times what people get concerned about, is that if a player's older and a first rounder, then you have a fifth year option and then they need to get a deal after that, and then they don't get it because they're too old. With his age and his draft capital, he'll be in still a very good sweet spot to get his second contract, and that contract is like first round draft capital. You get extended as a 27-year-old running back, that's as good as saying, oh, he got drafted in the first round. The team's fully committed no matter what. So I'm not worried about Harvey at all. 4 years is a long time. 5 years is a long time.
Yo, Smitty.
Yeah.
Smitty. Let me ask Travis one more question about the draft, and I'll be done with this subject. I promise. I don't bother you no more for the rest of the year.
Go ahead. What are you going to bring
Travis?
What's up?
Yo, Travis.
What's up?
Let me ask you this. Do you think the Lions could have got the same wide receiver with the 102nd pick, and he was the 149th player in the draft? Most people had him at 149.
Yeah, it's so hard to know. I'm sure Smitty would say the same thing. Is that
he's still going to try and argue?
If you look at what they're doing with their picks in Detroit, is they don't care about that, and they're going to get their guy.
They better not bring up three third rounders.
They might have heard a whisper about another team liking them, so they just said, screw it, and went and got him. That's the way I read it. I don't know if Smitty agrees or not. I'm guessing he might.
No, I have one more question about that. How about this? Do you think that they gave up too much? Because I can understand them giving up 1/3 round to move up, 32 picks, but they gave up
Kyrie.
last year.
Okay. Don't start
Plus-
going in
plus
this.
the pick
Don't
they-
go
no,
this.
plus the
Don't
pick
go in
they
this
giving up
direction
this
again.
year.
Don't go in this direction again about talking about 3 third rounders. I just want
to know if that's
He's
too
trying
much
to.
for
Look.
round
I got a psych degree, Kyrie Boston. I know you're trying to get this off your chest. This is why this situation went the way it is.
Sleep.
And you're trying to slip in. I've got a psych degree.
You're my football
okay,
psychiatrist.
I know. I can smell you trying to come in and try and say this is you trying to say one more time. You're just slipping in to get the last take. This is like someone arguing. And he wants to say three third rounders. It was 3 third rounders. This is why you got hung up on, though. Just let it go. Let it go. You finally got back on the phone line. We made a song for you. And here you are. You have to get the last word. You're trying to get the last word. It was not 3 third rounders. It wasn't 3 third rounders. It was a trade down and 2 third rounders. It was a trade down and 2 third rounders.
I'm not going to be understanding 3 third rounders.
Okay.
I'm not going to be understanding.
Let it go. Let it go. Let it go. You're back on the phone line.
It's hard. It's hard.
Let it go.
I'm a fan.
I love how this guy acts like he's talking about. Hold on, Kyrie, stop for a second. I love how this guy comes on the phone line, acts like he's trying to talk about Tesla's value when what he really wants to do is poke the bear one more time and say the trade was 3 third rounders. You were wrong on our last debate. 3. I'm smarter than that, Kyrie. I got a psych degree.
I don't feel like Tesla's worth 3 third rounders.
Well, good thing they didn't give up. Good thing they didn't give up 3 third rounders. They didn't give up 3. Look how he's trying to slide it in. Just let it go, or you're gonna get hung up on again.
They gave up a third rounder this year for him. They gave up 2 third rounders next year.
I got my finger over the button.
Every Lions fan
I got my finger over the button. How do you come back in? How do you come back in here and do this to yourself?
I watch all the Lions channel. I see the draft
5,
on the screen.
4,
Committee. You can't tell me they
3,
3 third rounders.
2,
I see the draft
1.
on the screen.
Finish him. Call terminated.
Yeah, Travis, I hung up on you on accident. Go ahead and call back in. I knew he couldn't do this. I knew he was incapable of walking onto the show in his comeback tour. BBQ dropping 20 gifted memberships like an absolute monster. BBQ to the mother freaking moon.
Alert. Super chat alert.
$50. Give me $50, holla.
Travis, I love how he thinks he disguised what he was doing. For those that don't know,
I knew where he was going too.
Yeah, Kyrie Boston got hung up on, and it took a real bad turn. He started screaming and yelling. He couldn't let it go. He says he can't sleep over it. That's how bad it's affecting him. Where he can't conceptualize that there was a trade down and then 2 third rounders that were involved in that trade. What?
Even beyond that, though, like, okay, you don't like the deal, you got to let it go. See what the player does. Maybe he'll be good. And then, you have a team that you like that's all in. They're going all in. Appreciate that.
Jay Freezy says, "See you tonight, Kyrie." Look, what a special day he ruined. It was kind of like, he had like his it was almost like he had a reunion party with some relatives that things didn't go well. They finally patched it up. Everything is good to go.
Grand reopening.
Grand reopening. Everything's amazing. All you had to do is let sleeping dogs lie. We create this.
I'm coming home. I'm coming home. Let the world know I'm coming home. Girl in Boston, coming home. Let the rain wash away. I'm coming home.
I mean, what an entrance. What a nice celebration. He comes in. We got balloons everywhere. The table's full of food. He comes in and just tips the tables over, pops all the balloons, and takes a leak right in the middle of the ballroom. Like he can't let sleeping dogs lie. He can't.
You had Rock out write a ballad for him.
I did. I took my sweet time.
Couldn't let that go.
Rock out took his sweet time. I knew he'd be back. We'll see him tonight, I'm sure. But stop going there, Kyrie. I know in your mind you think you've got this handled, but it's crazy to me. Spill the milk on Thanksgiving dinner on purpose. All right, let's move on. Thank you, BBQ, for dropping the glory that you're dropping. We got Who Was That Guy? His name's Kyrie, a.k.a. Kyron Boston, and he just can't let go of his stubborn view on something as tiny as how we're describing a trade. How we're describing a trade in the NFL as being a trade down and 2 third rounders instead of him saying 3 third rounders. That's all it is. That's why he's flipping out, is because I won't say 3 third rounders. I'm saying a trade down and 2 third rounders. And he's flipping out. He's absolutely flipping out. He can't let it go. And he tried to be so sly. But you can't slip that in on me, bro. I know what I'm doing here. I know what time it is. Not on my site couch. Gump, you're live.
Part is he's got 3 favorite teams too, so there'd be no sweat off his back.
He does. Move on to one of the other 3 teams. Gump, you're live. Gump, we tried. We tried, Gump. We tried.
Well, you did, didn't you?
We did our best.
You did. Well, hey, he's got to let it go, man. Brad likes who he likes, and that's just it. He ain't the general manager, and Brad is. So that's how it goes. But I want to talk about Marv, man. I'm thinking Marv might be good again this year.
You're thinking?
You know what I'm saying?
Okay. Yeah, I know what I'm saying. I just did a show on it, of course.
Well, I was thinking maybe if I could get, when my draft comes around, maybe I could get Malik again, and I can get Debo and then swing around and get Marv. Is that possible?
I mean, Marv is a third rounder. Did you say get Debo, then swing around and get Marv? Is that what you said?
Well, you don't think Debo's going to be good this year?
How you going to get Marv after Debo? Debo's a 5, 6 round pick. What are you talking about?
Gosh, so I'm gonna grab Malik, and then I'm gonna grab Marv, and then I'm gonna grab Debo.
No, I don't know what you're talking about, bro. Debo's a 6, 7 round pick. Marv, you got to take in the 3rd round.
Right, you got to take other players.
Or Gump. Yeah, Gump, you got to make sure. You got to make sure you're not taking Debo.
Well, my MO for the, I usually I'll grab my receivers, then I'll start grabbing running backs, and then I'll get my sleepers.
Yeah, it sounds like you don't listen to the show at all. Because I tell you, never grab a position, grab a player. You don't go grabbing receivers and then go grabbing running. You grab the best player available, Gump. That's what you do. That might be running backs.
That Marv's working out, and
I don't think you're not listening to me. You're not listening to me. I'm telling you to grab Marv. Did you watch the show? This is a Marv show. I'm telling you to grab Marv. Marv in the 3rd is great. But you just said you go and you grab your receivers, then you come back and you grab your running backs. You're trying to say you're grabbing Debo, like what, in the top 3 rounds? What are you doing, Gump? You need to do some drafting.
Well, I haven't got my hands. The last 4 years, I ain't got my hands on Debo.
Oh, so take him in the 2nd or 3rd because of that. That makes sense.
I'm jonesing for a Debo on my team.
Oh, okay.
Jonesing for a Debo.
Okay.
Don't be jonesing for anything.
Or what happened?
Well, same with Jonathan Taylor. I think he's got a big year coming.
Gump logic. Gump logic is unique. It's a unique logic.
Oh, I'm gonna be a nervous wreck when it goes down because it's gonna go crazy, and then I'm gonna get an F again.
Kyrie
Boston. So he could go.
Kyrie Boston grand opening and grand closing.
Then I gotta go ahead. Then I gotta tank like 2 or 3 games to get the waiver wire.
Dark Steel says Kyrie Boston grand opening and grand closing in the same episode. We had a brand new grand opening and everything's got to go sale in the same hour.
I mean, I like Debo. Debo can get Debo's
enough. I got it. Look, Gump. Debo's a moon man. Okay, we love him, but stop talking about it. Space. No one's taking Debo where you're talking about it. He's a 6th round player. He's an amazing 6th round player. But Gump, you get him after your running backs, or a running back and your quarterback or whatever. He is not somebody you're drafting before you go running back, quarterback, and tight end shopping because he's in the 6th round.
Well, I'm talking a big talk now. The last year I went 3 running backs in a row.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
Anything else, Gump?
I'll pause it. I will, but let me pause it. I'll go on mute for a minute.
Okay, right. He's going to retreat. All right, Travis, anything else?
Alex in the chat, he had I think it was a membership thing. I know you do them at the end, but be able to read that real quick for him.
Yeah. I'm coming.
Everyone, Alex.
Coming home. Kyron Boston's coming home. And then he's not. Slams the door and walks away. Golden Burden Harris Higgins. Dynasty Superflex. Rank him. I'm going to say Golden, even though I don't know. I honestly feel like Golden's almost a void for me in some respects, but I can still rank him higher. Shows how much I'm not feeling the Burden hype right now in this situation. But Burden eventually could be amazing. I just don't trust Caleb. So I'm going to say Golden, Burden, Harris, Higgins in that order. I like Higgins a lot, but he's got a ceiling value of being the second receiver on his team. Harris I like, but there's still he's good. I think Burden's amazing. I want Burden to be the number one somewhere, but he's also got a Doomsday sitting right there for the rest of his career until he gets moved. Golden's the only one that has a golden opportunity. I don't even really love these wide receivers here in fantasy right now. It's not that I don't love the players. I love Burden. But Golden's the only one given that golden opportunity. So Golden for sure. And then almost like a tier break. But like the talent, I like Burden by far talent-wise. But he's not in the best spot. It's not horrible, but it's not great. It's not what it could have been. So go with the opportunity. But and even so, Golden's got trade value. Like you take Golden, you could trade him for something significant because he's got tremendous trade value right now. But that's probably what I would do is trade Golden. I don't think I'd keep him. I'd probably move him. And MJ with the super chat says, 10-team, 1 QB, Dynasty, I have 1.3, 1.4, 1.8. Should I trade 1.8 and 2.2 and 3.3? Should I trade 1.8 for 2.2 and 3.3? I see these things and it makes me want to just smash the football into my head. Like, what is the 3.3 doing for you? Like, why are we even why do we keep doing this? Why do we consider these trade downs for garbage picks? Oh, I'm getting an extra pick. Like, how come I can't get these trades to go down? How come I can't turn my 2.2 into a 1.8? Maybe get Harvey by just surrendering a 3.3. Why don't I see these opportunities? No, MJ. And I'm only hard on you so you understand and remember it. That's it. I'm not mad at you. I appreciate you. You super chatted, for goodness sakes. And for that, I owe you a
to the moon
shot. But I'm going to be hard on this so that you don't walk away and go, well, Smitty was kind of on the fence. I'm not. This would be devastating to watch Harvey get taken 1.8 and you're like, I got a 3.3. Woo! No, MJ.
Just a quick note. No, because we had something like this happen last week. Obviously, this is talking about rookie draft, but if it's not a rookie draft, if it's a startup, make sure you guys note that it's a startup. Because otherwise, we assume it's a rookie draft.
Yeah.
I'm coming home. I'm coming home. Let the world know I'm coming home. From Boston, coming home. Let the rain wash away.
Hey, Rockout, if you're there, can you do this exact same song with the exact same vibe, but say I'm not coming home? Can we get an anti of that real quick? I don't know if Rockout's there. I mean, he's fast. Rockout can produce like that. We need to get Rockout. You need to get on Fiverr. I think we could get you a bunch of Fiverr orders. People could order Rockout raps. But anyway, let's see here. 3.3 usually drops for waiver. Look, yeah, 3.3 is nothing. MJ, don't do this trade. Got it. I'm keeping my first, boys. Move up, don't move down. Never move down. Who cares about? Let me also put this into perspective, okay? I wouldn't trade. Let me put your super chat back up, MJ. I wouldn't trade my 1.8 down to 2.2 if you gave me the 2.3, 2.4, 2.5, 2.6, 2.7, 2.8, 2.9, 2.10, 2.11, and 2.12. You gave me all of those picks from 2.2 on in the entire second round to move down to 1.8. I'd spit on your trade offer. So that should really help you understand where a third rounder ranks in my world. Hopefully Rockout can drop a beat before we go. Is Rockout even in the building? I really need that, Rockout. If you're,
he super chatted earlier. So
yeah,
should be.
He's still there. He's probably working hard on it right now. This thing's gonna come through any second.
Looking it up.
Rockout delivers like clockwork. What other news did we have? Let me see if there's anything else lingering on X right now. I really feel like a lot of people are trying to get clicks right now. So there's a lot of like weird takes and people, neighbors opened up. Let's see. We got Shane with the super chat. What'd you say, Travis?
I just said that there is some like weird like clickbaity engagement farming stuff just being thrown out there.
To Mars.
Thank you, Shane. Yeah, I think what it is there's not a lot of news right now. And so everybody's like, well, what do we do? Let's go find something that's weeks old and just post it. Like Genty will be, will be wearing the number. Genty will be wearing the number 2. I like that. That's kind of deuces. Yeah, that's great. Running. That's awesome. That's the next video. Deuces. As he's running. I love it. I love it, Travis. Deuces. He looks good in 2. I like that. Has there ever been a running back? Can we think of a running? Let's ask Kruger.
I would say Kruger like it too. Keep the deuces loose.
Yeah. Hey, Kruger, good news. Ashton Genty's wearing the number 2. So now when we say deuces, we can say Ashton Genty. We're Ashton Genty out of here, or deuces. And when he's running, he's going to look back and say deuces. Anyway, respond to that real quickly. Don't be long-winded. But also, is there a running back that's ever worn the number 2 in the NFL?
It's awesome. Ashton Genty rocking number 2 definitely gives a new twist to deuces. It fits perfectly with his explosive style. As for other running backs wearing number 2, it's pretty rare, but Melvin Gordon wore it during his stint with the Broncos. It's definitely a cool number for a back.
I kind of remember that. I kind of don't.
Yeah, it's not the most common number for running backs, so it's easy to forget. But seeing Genty in that jersey is going to make it memorable real quick.
All right. If I need anything else, I'll call upon you. For now, Ashton Genty out, a.k.a. Deuce out, okay?
You got it. Deuce out. I'll be here when you need me.
Give me something funny about the number 2 in Ashton Genty. Come up with something like Deuce related.
All right. How about this? Every time Ashton Genty breaks free for a touchdown, defenses will be seeing double. Because he's not just leaving them behind, he's dropping the ultimate deuce on the field.
Give me one more. I like that. That's good. One more.
Sure thing. Picture this. Every time Genty jukes a defender, it's like he's saying, number 2 coming through, and leaving them in the dust with a big deuces.
With a big liquid deuce.
Leaving them slipping and sliding while he cruises into the end zone.
Oh, stay liquid, stay loose, stay Genty. Oh, bro.
Is it my turn?
Oh, I'm sorry, Gump. Were you there? I forgot you were there. Let me read the super chat. Let me read the super chat real quick. Hold on. Chase 1.1. Hold on, Gump. Chase 1.1. Kyron 2.12. Lamar Jackson 3.1. Zay Flowers 4.1. Harvey 5.1. I don't understand the Zay Flowers love. What are we doing drafting Zay Flowers in the 4th round? I see him in the 3rd round sometimes. This reminds me of Deontay Johnson. This reminds me of Waddle going in round 2. Like, we got to stop drafting Zay Flowers like he's this integral part of your fantasy football top 4 round picks. I don't like this, Shane. I don't like Flowers there at all. Harvey, Njoku 6.12. That's really high for Njoku. Golden 7.1. Is this a good starting lineup? It's got pieces that I like. Lamar's too high. Assuming this is a 1 QB. So love Chase, love Kyron. Lamar, I'd rather you wait on the quarterback, get Mahomes in round 6 or 7. You know what I mean? Instead of Lamar at the 2-3 turn. And Flowers, I don't like that value. Harvey, it's a little early, bro. But I understand that you had 6.12, so you couldn't really take him later. I'm okay with the Harvey reach. I'd be okay with that, but I don't like the Flowers pick. And the Lamar's too early. Njoku, I've never even seen Njoku in the 6th round before in my life. So there's a few reaches here that I don't think you smashed on, Shane. But you got some good, centerpieces to it. But you could have made it a lot better. You know what I'm saying? Flowers should be in the 7th round. So why are we taking him in the 4th? I don't understand. I don't get the fly.
I think with the new season coming up, maybe you have to reiterate that people need to go back and look at how Ravens don't produce top 20, top 15 wide receivers.
Yeah, it doesn't happen. Let me see. Hold on. Hey, Kruger, can you? Gump's on the line right now. Gump is, Gump. Sorry, Gump. Say something to Gump that's Ashton Genty Deuce related.
Hey, Gump. Good to have you on the line, buddy. Remember, whenever things get tough, just stay loose, stay flowing, like Ashton Genty hitting the hole, always adapting, always pushing forward.
Where's the deuce?
Don't forget to drop a deuce on that like button, Gump. Keep it rolling and stay in the flow, my man.
All right, go ahead, Gump. You were wanting to say something badly.
Okay, I'm going to pretend I'm your guest today, and I'm going to be John Madden, and I'm going to draw up the play. All right, you ready? Hey, Smitty, I'm over here. I'm going to draw a play up. We're going to do the Duncan slide, glide, roll, just for our good buddy, Kyrie. We're going to go ahead and grab Genty. He's going to outrun TD Deuce. He's going to be loose, but he's going to get to the deuce. Then we're going to
Finish
go
him.
ahead and grab
Call terminated.
That's disgusting. Okay, go ahead, Travis. Any final thoughts before I'll come back tonight? We'll be drafted tonight. So, Travis, anything else?
Not just from earlier. I was going to say, with Restrepo and Iomanor, however you say his name, Ridley still being decent, and he's got Ward as 2 tight ends. I think they drafted with it. Gunnar Helm, I think.
Conquo there.
Conquo, and 2 good pass catching backs. Like, keep an eye on Ward as definitely where he's going now. I'm not sure his ADP, but as a third QB or a second QB in certain best balls, he's interesting.
Super flex too. Yeah, definitely. I like Ward. Another thing about Ward is Ward can throw for 18 to 19 touchdowns or something like that. And as long as he runs for 500 yards and 4 touchdowns, he's like all of a sudden like a top 15 quarterback, you know? All right.
You think he'll run that much?
Yeah. I think he could. I mean,
yeah.
Let's see here.
I was just curious what you thought. I wasn't sure how much of a runner he was or not.
Yeah,
I know he can chuck it.
Yeah, I think he probably. Let me see what I projected for. I did a little projection here a little while ago. Let me get Bruce in here. Hold on. Bruce is calling in. What's up, my boy, Brucey?
Hey, Smitty.
Hold on one second, Bruce. Hold on one second. So, Travis, I mean, while I would say that his rushing's sporadic, I think, at the NFL level, just like Penix Jr. is going to run a lot more than people think. I think the one thing that makes me, let's say it's 300, 400 yards, not 500. So let's say I'm overzealous on that. The fact that this guy is like 4 touchdowns, 8 touchdowns, 5 touchdowns, at least the touchdowns will be there. But I think that you'll probably, the other thing too is how college counts these stacks is different too, so it takes away a lot. Like Shador, won't have these big negative plays, but in college they did. So I think this would meet, I don't know what the number would be. It'd be higher than 204. But yeah, I think he's probably going to have, let's call it 350 and anywhere between 4 and 6 touchdowns on the ground. I think it's possible.
I like that, yeah.
So even if the yardage isn't where I expect it, which I think I looked at it, I think I had 400. So 400 yards might be a little overzealous maybe, but I think it's possible.
Maybe not.
But the fact that he's running for 4 and 8 touchdowns,
cool.
He's a running quarterback, like I think people can't run. How do you get 8 touchdowns if you can't run, It's just they didn't design.
Yeah, I didn't realize he had that many.
Yeah, I mean, it's
touchdowns.
Yeah, kind of crazy. His stats are kind of nice. I mean, 5, 8, 4. That's unreal. 5, 8, 4. And keep in mind, moving teams
not
too.
Afraid
like,
to take it off.
The resilience factor for Cam Ward is a nice NFL kind of like upside thing to point out. Like Cam Ward playing for 3 different teams, transferring around. He's not going to be able to do it if he transfers, does better. He's not going to be able to do it in Miami. If he goes to Miami, does it. And so he's really hit his mark and bet on himself and improved his stock. His climb is amazing. It's kind of a fun story. And that, the other player that kind of gets me excited for the resilience part is like, even like Igbuka, with all the potential players he's had to play with. So Cam Ward and Igbuka are like those players that are like chameleons in a way. They're going in and they can develop into whatever the hell they want because of what they've endured and encountered, So Tampa Bay, one reason I heard Tampa Bay and that staff and Baker specifically too wanted Igbuka is because of how much adversity he was always dealing with these other big name players. So if you bring Igbuka in to compete with Godwin and Evans, and he's used to playing with Jeremiah Smith, and he played with JSN, he played with Olave, he played with all those guys, Garrett Wilson, he played with all of them. So Igbuka has been surrounded by all these big name players and having to float and survive amongst all that. So perfect place to put Igbuka, who's a specialist at that very thing in a Bucs situation that's very crowded. And so Cam Ward being, needing to learn new things and develop, with a new set of teammates, like this is also a skill set that he has as like kryptonite, or I mean, as superpower. That's most people's kryptonite. All right, go ahead, Bruce. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
At their ADP, who would you like more, Neighbors or Harrison, if you had to pick one?
At their ADP, who do I like more, Neighbors or Harrison? That's a good question. I mean, it's not like it's kind of hard.
Question than you think.
It's kind of hard to answer that because any first rounder you could say is not as valuable as a breakout. Like you could say, do I like Gibbs at his ADP or Harvey? It's hard to say. Like, I'm not going to say the answer is Gibbs, but the answer is Harvey. But it's hard to like say that because you're like basically feel like you're crapping on Gibbs. I mean, Neighbors is going to cost you a boatload, so I don't know. I mean, the answer is probably the value pick, but doesn't mean I'm avoiding Neighbors on any level. I could own both of them if I want. Unless I'm doing what Gump's doing, drafting Debo ahead of MHJ, which I don't know where you got that, Gump. And Gump's back on the line, by the way. And Gump, I see your comment. You say Smitty's no fun tonight. It's not about being fun. It's about being a responsible host. And I literally know my audience well. And I know when they get enough Gump, or they get enough Kyrie Boston, or they get enough, rambling or singing, and especially when it's really bad.
I got a good question. I got a real good question.
And don't get mad because hold on, Gump. Don't get mad because I hang up on you. I know, but Kyrie Boston, I had this conversation with him when I said Kyrie. He called me off of the show one time. I think it was off the show. It was that, or it was on the show at the end. I forget. But I said, don't take offense.
Got a little anger problem.
Don't take offense when I hang up on you. It's his fault. But just move on and come back. But he takes offense to it. Yeah. Denny, same thing. I tell Denny, don't take offense if I hang up on you. We've just had enough of it. Yeah. And then you hang up on Denny. He's like, I'm never calling again. Okay, so Gump, please be grounded. Go ahead before I hang up on you.
Okay, this is good. You're gonna like this, and this is what I've been really thinking about. Because I know how needy and greedy I get on the draft.
We don't need the setup, Gump. Just go for it. Go ahead.
Okay. I can't get away from the idea about those tight ends because there's so many good tight ends in the league. I mean, there's a lot of them. I'm just trying to get that one sleeper where I could get a little greedy and get that Devo, and maybe get a little greedy and get Bucky, and you know what I mean? Get that super team. But if I go grab that tight end right away and he don't produce.
Okay, Evan Ingram, Denver. Evan Ingram, get him late. Likely.
Give me 5 or 7.
Isaiah Likely, get him late. Kyle Pitts is going in a ridiculous territory that does not, there's no risk whatsoever.
He never does anything.
It doesn't matter. He's going in a garbage territory. He's no longer going where he used to go. He's absolute different value. Kincaid?
If you
try it again, Gump.
Yeah.
Kincaid. Go ahead. Try and say it.
Kincaid.
Tyler Warren, Kyle Pitts, and Njoku Fannin Jr., Likely.
Who can I get?
Jake Ferguson.
Six.
Everyone, Gump. No, there's not a lot of tight ends going around 6 and 7. Like you can wait till later. Kelsey's going late. Go get Kelsey and go get Evan Ingram. You can draft late tight ends very easily. Go get Mark Andrews and Likely together. Unless Andrews goes too early, then don't.
I'm not going to grab Mark Andrews. That's like getting the Connors from St. Louis. Connors is about ready to hit the dump.
St. Louis.
The point he's making is if you want a guy like Kincaid, you're going to take him later. So make sure you get a guy like an Ingram, like an Andrews, whoever you like out of that group, like a Kelsey.
I want a monster.
That is stable.
I want a monster like in the 6th or 7th round. I want a monster.
Good luck.
I think there's a, huh?
Jonnu, maybe.
Is it possible? Jonnu? Nah, I think it's got to be.
Hey, Ad-Rock, call into the show. Call into the show, Ad-Rock. Smitty always hating on the Bears. Am I hating on the Bears? Or am I telling you the truth? And because you don't like it, you define it as me hating on the Bears. I'm here, Ad-Rock, if you want to dial in and have a conversation about it. You're going to make a statement that you can't back up.
I think.
Phone line's open.
I think
all right, Gump, I got to go. It's too much. All right, appreciate you, bro. We'll see you later. That's it. Rock out. Or sorry, Bruce, final thoughts.
Today was a good show, and thank you for taking my question.
Attaboy, appreciate you. Ashton Genty out, a.k.a. Deuces. Rock out, I guess, isn't around right now. Rock out, we need I'm coming home, but we need you to create another version. The I'm not coming home. Kyrie Boston isn't coming home. He got hung up on. It's washed away. We'll maybe see him another day. Rock out. I need it. I need it for the next show. Superflex Dynasty. My QBs are Tua and Baker. I mean, I don't mean to crap on those because Baker's pretty, underrated. But who would you draft, Dart or Sanders? Dart, he's got the opportunity. Sanders could get screwed his entire career. I can't control any of that. It's out of my hands at this point. Sanders is a good quarterback that I think has a bright future if someone lets him. But I don't know that the Browns are the ones in charge of his fate. So Dart is the easy answer, the clear answer. Gabriel, I don't want Gabriel at all. Gabriel's nothing. If I'm drafting only Sanders. I'm not taking Gabriel. We got one more super chat from Baxter. Baxter says, took Hampton and Golden over Hunter and Harvey. I don't care about the Hampton. Like, if you want Hampton over Harvey, like, I understand that. But how in the hell did you take Golden over Hunter? Baxter, what have you been watching, bro? He's been on my supernova list. What?
Must have been Hampton over Hunter, right? And Golden over Harvey. In that order? Must have been.
You could be right, as that's how he got screwed on it. But, bro, I don't know why in the hell you would ever draft. I would have taken Hampton and Harvey. But I don't know why in the hell you would have drafted Golden over Harvey. I don't care if you needed a wide receiver. It is what it is. But to draft, if you actually drafted Golden over Hunter, I mean, we're talking Baxter. This is a debacle. I mean, I like what you got. You got Hampton. You're still fine. But, I mean, Hunter might be, God, he could be special. He's a supernova for a reason. I'll show it on the way out the door. But, I mean, jeez. Gump, we'll see you later. I have to move on, Gump. All right, Travis, final thoughts. We're leaving anyway, Gump. That's why.
No, I'm good. I'll talk to you later.
All right, we'll be back to draft tonight. All right, see you, bro. All right, we're out of here. Supernova time.
There are handfuls of Saturn, Mars, and Moon men, but only 8 can be supernovas. I give you the 8 best picks in fantasy football.
They are the 8 supernovas. They are the 8 supernovas. The hateful 8 supernovas. I'm looking at the 8 supernovas. The magnificent 8.
Liftoff of mission 41D, the first flight of the orbiter Discovery, and the shuttle has cleared the tower.
We'll be live later tonight to draft on Underdog. Here's the link if you want to be a part of those drafts tonight. Make sure you smash this link. It inserts code Smitty for you. Celebratory message here. Golden Burden. Oh, I already did that one. Thank you to my super chatters. Thank you, Vidal, Baxter. Vidal, go, Vidal. Also poke around with Dak Prescott's value in Dynasty. I think that's a really good quarterback to go get in Dynasty Superflex. Baxter, thank you. Shane, MJ. Shane again. Benji. Shane again. Shane's a man. Monster. Coble. Rock out. Coble. Appreciate all your super chats. See you all tonight. We'll draft tonight on Underdog. Code Smitty. Where they'll match, or you can get up to $1,000 in bonus credit by depositing over at Underdog using code Smitty. The link inserts code Smitty for you. We'll be drafting tonight. Doing it live. Later, Sim Valley. Later, Travis. Later, Blackbeard, Space Ricky, DeBalt, all my mods that are in the building. If Vampy's out there, Sick Nasty if he's out there, Kenny Powers if he's out there, any other mods that are out there. See you later, Aaron. See you later, Daniel, Shepard. Later, Caps. Later, Big Profit. Later, Vice. Later, Gumpy. Later, Lewis. Appreciate you. Later, Runner. Adrock never called after his Bears hater comment. We'll see you later, Adrock, if you want to call in the night and explain yourself. Smitty doesn't like a player or team I like, so I'm going to label him as a hater instead of just a truth teller. Silver, appreciate you. Silver in the building. Silver's been here since day freaking one.
Your Bijan card has been revoked.